I guess the view from the inside isn't that bad after all. But it is going to take some getting used to. Hi guys, well today's project is putting some one-way vinyl on the van windows. Okay, first of all, a little disclaimer, this is how I'm going to do this project. By no means is it the right or wrong way to do it. There's probably hundreds of ways to do a project like this. And what I tell folks to do is just do your own research, and hopefully my videos will give you some ideas and possibly entertain. So yeah, and this project involves a razor knife, which is a very sharp object. So yeah, be careful guys. Okay, so what I have here is this stuff called Vivid, and it is a perforated window vinyl, and it's supposed to provide some shielding from the sun and a little bit of privacy. I've heard some mixed reviews about it. I've heard some people say it's good, some people say it's hard to deal with, but like anything that is perforated, I'm sure it's very fragile because there's already a lot of holes in it. So you have to take that into account when you're applying it. So you're going to have to be extra careful with it, no matter what, because like I say, because it has the holes. Okay, some of the tools I'm going to be using are, this is a Pampered Chef squeegee. You can buy, window tinting kits where you get a proper squeegee that will probably work better. But this is what I have, so this is what I'm going to use. And of course, paper towels and vinegar. And that's to clean the windows with. You can use glass cleaner, but I didn't really have any except for the Rain-X stuff, and I was afraid the Rain-X would probably have some sort of chemical in it that would not mix well with the adhesive on the vinyl, so I am just using straight up vinegar because I know it's not going to hurt anything. You could probably also use isopropyl alcohol, which might even work even better. But everybody's alcohol situation right now because we have this pandemic. So, and yeah, so, and of course a pair of scissors, my rusty trusty scissors, and a razor knife of some sort to cut around the edges. All right. And I almost forgot, you got to have a tape measure. You got to measure the space that you're going to be covering so that you know how much to cut. Duh. Oh yeah, remember, measure twice, cut once. Okay guys, so what you do is you measure the outside of the window. You've got to get it bigger than the actual glass. So I'm going to measure it to the black parts. So I've got 22 1/4 by 20 inches. Okay. Okay, as you can see, you guys, they made this pretty dang easy. It's just like that shelf paper that you put inside of your, kitchen shelves and drawers and stuff like that. It just really reminds me of that. It's almost like regular contact paper. And they put the grid on the back so that you can cut straight lines. And so I'm going to get this marked and cut out. I don't think I'm going to show that because it's just very boring. Okay, so I cleaned my windows and I measured and cut 4 of these pieces. And as you can see, if I can get it up here without it rolling up on me, I got it bigger on purpose. Okay, and I'm going to show you guys in a few minutes why you want it bigger. You don't want it to be exactly the same size as the glass because it makes it harder to put on. Okay? And when you're cutting this stuff, you got to be real careful not to bend it as much as I did because I got a few creases in it, so it might not exactly fit the way it needs to. It might have more bubbles and gaps in it than you want. So, yeah, just be careful when you're cutting it. Hopefully you have a better workspace to do this in than I do. So you probably won't run into that, but yeah. So I'm just peeling it off a little bit at a time. because this is essentially a giant sticker, and it's gonna fight with you. It's already fighting with me. And it likes to stick to itself and all that good stuff. So that's why I suggest do like I did and get more than what you need in case you mess one or two of them up. You have enough to do it again. And just, and it's got to go over what you really want it to go. Okay, as you guys can see, it's over where it needs to be, if that makes any sense. The glass is smaller than the actual thing, and you just want to stick it kind of to the side of the van, like side of the window that's not part of the window, as you kind of peel it down. And you have to be really careful when you do it. Okay, so I'm going to try to show you this, but I don't know if this camera is going to do this. I have a really crappy setup for videos like this, so I'm doing the best I can, guys. I'm sorry. The little last segment I'm going to really have to edit because it just didn't turn out quite right. I'm trying to be able to get to a spot where I can show you guys. Okay, hopefully you'll be able to see what I'm doing. Alright, is it still going? Hopefully. Okay, see, I'm pulling from underneath. Okay, and what that does is it keeps it pretty much straight, and you don't have to totally stick it down all at once, because if you do, then you might cause wrinkles and stuff. And then you kind of go from the top, and you kind of, what I like to do is gently push in it, and if you need some slack, this is where the extra stuff comes in. You can pull it back up and give it a little slack so that you can get it to where you need it to go, and you can kind of tug on it and pull it back out. Usually professionals are the ones that deal with this stuff, and I kind of did this for a little while at a sign shop, so I kind of sort of know what I'm doing. And again, it's just, you got to give it a little slack. Okay, so now, as you can see, it's kind of going more on the contour of the glass. You see that? But I couldn't have done that if I hadn't stuck it up here first and gave it some place to kind of anchor to, right? And then I kind of just manipulated it. See how I'm moving it? You know, because there was a bubble right there. And you're going to have to do that all the way down. You're going to have to do it like, I don't even know if you guys can see that. There's like these little creases in here, right? Okay, you're going to have to just be patient and go slow all the way down. But if you had cut it the size of the glass, then you wouldn't have any of this extra to work with. Does that make sense? I hope. So that's why you want to cut it oversized, so that you can scoot it and move it and do what you have to do. So hopefully that makes sense. Okay. And I'm just going to gently keep going down and pulling on it and just checking it and tugging it, you know, and kind of giving it a little more room where it needs to go down on the glass. And you just got to be patient, like I said, and go slow, because if you don't, it's going to get too many bubbles or wrinkles. And that's what the squeegee's for too, is to help to get the wrinkles out. And see how I'm pulling back up on it? I don't know if you guys can see that because I can't hold onto the camera and do this. But I wouldn't have that luxury if I hadn't cut it the way I cut it. I can't stress that enough. If you're working with this kind of vinyl, stuff like this, you know, if you're doing one big sheet of it, you have to make it bigger than what you need it to be, at least by a couple inches. So you can get this, so you can get in there and just fiddle with it. And then once you get that part to kind of the way you want it, and it doesn't have to be totally perfect yet, you know, just keep slowly going down, pulling more of it down, and just kind of smooth with your hands. And, you know, once you get really good at this, like if you do it all the time for a living, then you can go faster. I have friends that could do this like this window that I'm doing, they could probably do it in 5 minutes. But you just keep going down and pushing out all the bubbles as you go. Okay. And do the best you can at it. And you don't want to go more than a few inches down at a time, because if you do, then you run the risk of it, bubbling up again. And you can't go on the sides as well, like I'm doing right here, and then giving it some slack. So that's why I like to just let it, ride here, and I just keep doing it a little bit at a time. And there was a crease there, and you just kind of pull back on it and push it with your thumb or whatever. You got to be really patient and gentle with it. And this vinyl is harder than the regular stuff because it's perforated, and I'm afraid I'm going to rip it. But it's also kind of easier because it's already got holes in it. So the air can kind of push out easier. Whereas like solid vinyl, when you're doing a big section like this, it could get a lot of bubbles in it. And then sometimes you have to go along with a razor blade and pop them, which is annoying, but that's just how it works. And I'm just, like I said, I'm just smoothing it down. It's very slow, and I'm being really patient. And see, I'm almost to the end, but I'm not doing this temptation where I'm gonna pull it right off right away, because I want it to be able to hold itself. Hopefully that makes sense. And I'm just pulling. And on the sides, pulling it out again. Pushing it down into the crease where I want it. Do the best you can to keep it even. And this is going so well, I almost probably don't even need to use the squeegee for it, but I will, because I want to show you guys how you're supposed to do it for real. And then you pull this down and just slowly pull it off. And you push that into the crease. Oh, see that? Look, I even cut that with my thumbnail. So yeah, you got to be real careful with this perforated stuff. It's fragile. And then you can just pull it back and be really gentle with it when you do. Solid vinyl, you could probably do it, easier. Pull on it harder, I mean. And there we go. Okay. You just rub and feel for bubbles. Okay guys, as you can see, that came out pretty dang smooth. And like I said, I got a lot on the edges, and that's okay. But see how, I don't know if you can see on the camera, but see how it kind of puckered right here? It did that on all the edges, okay? And that's all right, because see how where it counts down here on the glass? It's actually tight on there. And that's one of the reasons why you have to make it bigger. So you have that room to be able to work that out. I don't know how else to explain it, but that's how it goes. Okay? Let's see how that tucks in there real nice. And I don't know, I've never done window tint like this before. But I'm sure that's probably kind of similar. Always make sure you have, a bigger piece than what you think you should put on the window. And see, and I'm just kind of pushing it in a little and feeling for bubbles. Okay, so most of these squeegees are more like credit card size, but this one it should do. Like I said, it's all I have. And you just kind of smooth it out, and wherever there's bubbles, and you can stretch it, push it into the corners, kind of like that. And get it on there really good. Push out from the middle if you can. And this squeegee, it works okay, but it's not quite the best. That's kind of how you do it, guys. I mean, it's just real easy. And you just put your hands over it and see if you can feel any bubbles. Smooth it down. Just like any other sticker. Now, these guys say that this stuff is supposed to last a couple years, so we'll see. I don't know. And I might not even have the van that long, so who knows. You know, things always change. That's one thing, you know, nomads don't just change places. A lot of times they change rigs. And I'm going to be doing a video on that here pretty soon too, I think. Oh, see, and there's a bubble down on the edge there, and you just want to push it in. And don't worry if this stuff kind of sticks, because it'll come right off. It's, you know, because, you know, it doesn't want to stay on my yucky, you know, rubber and my paint there. I mean, if it was a bigger sheet, you know, if I was going to do a whole vinyl wrap over the whole van, then it might want to stay. But because, you know, this flappy here and this rubber is not very conducive to this stuff, it's really easy just to pull it off when you're done. Okay guys, now here comes the fun part. Now, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be cutting around the edges of the glass, and if there were any bubbles, you could use this too to help get rid of them, because you just pop them. But this stuff, it's just got so many holes in it that you don't have to worry about that. And I'm just gonna, I don't know if you guys can see that, I'm gonna gently just go around right on the edge of the rubber. And it barely takes any pressure at all with this stuff. Other vinyls I've had to cut are harder. And you just kind of go down the side there, really easy. Easy peasy. Get all the way around, and it doesn't have to be totally perfect, because you're gonna smooth it down with your squeegee or your hands again. What I like to do is I will take, you know, I don't want to just try to peel it off. I'll probably like take a piece, lift it up and maybe cut it with my razor blade. Of course, this stuff is perforated, so it just rips. And then I can just kind of go along and peel it off. And see, that way, if there's any spots like this that didn't get cut, then I have more control over it, and I can just cut it. Get it in there. See, it didn't cut perfect. But that's okay. And you just slowly, the whole key to this stuff is just to be patient. Don't rush it, because if you do, you're just gonna not be satisfied with the job. You know, if you did this all day, every day, like the guys that do this stuff for a living, then yeah, you're gonna be able to do it in 5 or 10 minutes or less, because you've had so much practice at it. But if you're just doing it once in a while, like I do on your van, just go slow. And it's not like you have anything else to do on that day. Just make sure it's your vinyl day. And see, as you can see, it's not totally perfect. I mean, this edge here is not exactly perfect, but that's okay, because once you smooth that out again, it's going to be barely noticeable. And I think that looks pretty good. I think it turned out pretty good, guys. So again, like I said, I'm just going to go over it, you know, with my thumb or whatever, or you could get the squeegee and do it. I just push down along the edges to make sure that it's all the way down. You know, and I'm not an expert at this. I've just, you know, done things like this before, so I thought I would make a good video. And see, there's a little spot here that I got over a tiny bit too much. And I don't have to do that. I could leave it, but I kind of want to, you know. Kind of want to take it off there. And it's not working too well coming off. I guess it'll just have to stay there. But it's seating down on the glass better now that it's not stuck to the rubber right there. And there you go. All right. I think that turned out pretty good. Okay, here's what it looks like on the inside. It's going to take a little bit of getting used to, but I'm thinking it's going to help shield the sun a lot, because that white reflective stuff on the outside. So we'll see. And I think it'd be easy to come off. I don't think I'm going to have that big of a deal getting it off if I don't like it. But I would just waste, you know, $30-something. But oh well. That's what you do. You experiment. Okay, guys, before I do the last window, I wanted to show you the difference between the two. As you can see, the unvinyled window, you can still see my curtain and part of my bed and stuff from over here. But on this side, you can't really see anything. Now, you know, I don't know if the camera, well, it kind of picks it up. I mean, it's not totally like opaque or whatever you want to call it, but it does give you a little bit more privacy on the inside. And hopefully it will also reflect a lot of the sunlight. Otherwise, you know, I wouldn't be doing these kind of things to the van because I really don't want to block my view at all. You know, because I really like having my view, but yeah, I think it's kind of necessary, especially because of the heat. I think they turned out pretty good. Much harder to see inside of there, huh? Well, I guess the view from the inside isn't that bad after all. But it is going to take some getting used to. Alright, you guys, that was my little window project for today. Hopefully you got something out of it. Maybe you got some ideas of your own. This stuff is very interesting. It's not that hard to put on. Of course, like I've said before, I have a little bit of experience doing this kind of thing, so it might have been just easy for me. But just remember, keep it slow and steady. It's not a race. You don't have to worry about it. It's not like you're doing this for a living, so just take your time, go slow, and you know, just pull it back and then push it back on whenever you need to, and you should be okay. And I'll let you guys know if I like it or not. It's probably going to take me a minute to get used to it. I really enjoy having full view out my windows, but I don't enjoy all the heat that comes in the summertime. And it's going to be back up into the hundreds again this week, and hopefully these things will help keep some of the heat out before it's time for me to open the doors, or if I'm at work and my van has to be locked up. So yeah, hopefully you guys got something out of this, and if you did, please like and subscribe. And thank you so very much for watching, and have a great day. Bye.